spiral wraps. They're one of my favorite poi tricks, and today I'm going to give you my best tips for getting them down. Drex here from Drex Factor Poi, teaching you poi spinning and flow arts to benefit your body and brain, and today I'm going to help you master those nifty looking spiral wraps. Before we dive in, I just want to give a quick shout out to the friends of the channel. Big thanks to Dark Monk, Flowfests, Flow Toys, Pyroterra Light Toys, LMF Props, Spinballs, and Ultrapoi for helping to make the videos on this channel possible. You can learn more about all of these awesome companies and the work that they're doing to support flow artists like yourself by checking out the links that I've got down in the description of this video. Spiral wraps are kind of a weird outlier in the poi world. We get this trick from the glow stringing world, something of a rarity as there aren't that many tricks that make this jump, and yet it's hard for me to imagine poi without it. Spiral wraps involve pulling the hands tightly together and then wrapping the full length of each tether all the way around them before reversing their direction of spin and letting them unwind to full length once again. While it looks incredibly cool, this is also one of those tricks that I get super nervous about when I'm spinning on fire, because if anything goes wrong, I could wind up with a whole lot of fire concentrated around my hands. The consequences for getting it wrong are pretty grim. And at the same time, it's a trick that looks so cool and that I tend to use almost like punctuation in the middle or end of a sentence. Honestly, sometimes I don't even register that I'm doing it until I've completed it. At the same time, I remember what a challenge it was to learn it, and I'd love to share with you some of the tips that I picked up over the years for really making it pop. So without further ado, let's dive in and see how you can make poi spiral wraps your own. First up, let's cover a couple basics. The thing that's most important for you to start with is the hand position that you'll need. Because spiral wraps involve pulling the hands so closely together, it's important to get the position of the hands relative to each other down. You don't get a lot of time to readjust it, and once you've started the wrap, it's pretty hard to change your mind about it. There are two primary hand positions for spiral wraps, what I like to refer to as the turtle and the prayer. The turtle is my personal favorite, and I'd say it's probably the best option if, like me, you hold your poi between your index finger and thumb. For this, you place one hand on top of the other with both palms pointed down towards the ground and one thumb sticking out to either side. Which hand is on top will depend on what direction the poi you're spinning in. The prayer is a good position if you're anchoring your tethers between your index and middle fingers. For example, if you're using finger loops. This position involves placing the hands together with the palms facing each other and your thumbs both on the same side. Regardless of the direction the poi you're spinning in, this will be the position you find yourself in with the spiral wrap. Okay, so now that we have a rough idea of what our hand position ought to be, then the next question becomes, how do we get into or out of a spiral wrap? One method I know for working through the motions in a way that doesn't involve worrying about gravity is to learn the spiral wrap as part of a corkscrew. This will mean that the momentum is in your favor and you don't have to work as hard at keeping your planes clean. Stick your hands straight up above your head in the position of your choice and just let the poi wrap around your hands, wrists, and arms. Added bonus, doing spiral wraps in horizontal planes looks really cool, especially when you combine them with pirouettes. As this grows to become more and more comfortable, you can adjust to spinning on a more and more vertical plane until the plane is completely vertical. Then you're just in normal spiral wrap territory. This is a method that I've taught a lot of people, but honestly, I feel like it can sometimes be confusing to try and switch from that overhead plane to the one in front of your body, so there are a couple other techniques I do recommend. The first is to try doing the spiral wrap out of an extended windmill, or as it's sometimes called, Poitruvian man. You have a great spot right there in the middle where your arms are extended and you can pretty much do anything with them that you want. Bring your hands rapidly together and let the poi begin to wrap around them. Turn your hands slightly in the same direction that the poi are spinning in order to cushion the landing and create enough momentum to exit back out of the wrap. Another option is to simply practice entering the wrap from any other wall plane trick that's in split time same direction. For example, when I was first learning the spiral wrap, I would generally do it out of a waist strap, but you could just as easily do it from spinning the poi in split same in wall plane in front of you. Just be careful of the timing, as it's easy for the poi to spin straight past their intended positions if you're not careful. Okay, so we've got our entry into spiral wraps. Now, what exactly do we do to make them work? Perhaps the biggest challenge in getting spiral wraps to work cleanly is keeping yourself on plane with them. What do I mean by that? Well, here's a common thing that can go wrong. You've pulled your hands together and entered a wrap, but something feels off, like the poi are trying to get away from you. You reach your hands forward to try and catch the tether, and yet somehow it seems to swing ever further and further away from you. The problem is the alignment of your hands and the poi plane. Think of your hands as being like the axle of a wheel that the poi are spinning around. If that axle isn't isn't perpendicular to the wheel or poi plane, then the tethers will inevitably fall off your hands as you perform the wrap. If your hands are oriented properly, however, the tethers will automatically wrap around both hands cleanly, just like a cable in a winch. So here's where things get a little counterintuitive. You know that feeling like the tether is getting away from you? That moment when you want to reach out in a given direction and try and catch up with it? You actually want to reach off in the other direction. So if you feel the tether slipping off to the right, reach to the left instead, and this will correct the position of your hands relative to the poi. Of course, it's also a good idea to practice your playing so you can get this to work regardless of which direction your hand is pointing in. Cool, so we've entered our spiral wraps and succeeded in getting them wrapped completely around our hands. Now, how do we get back out of them? When I was first learning them, I did this by trying to pull my hands back apart. That would put tension on the tethers and begin spinning them back in the opposite way. For a variety of reasons, this is not the method that I use anymore. It takes a lot of strength and honestly kind of hurt my shoulders for a while. Plus which, I used to get really bad rope burns from it. So what's the alternative? Well, it looks like magic, but it's actually just plain physics. You have to learn the snap. As the poi tethers are wrapping around my hands, do you see how I'm turning my hands with the poi? As they complete the wrap, I snap my hands back in the opposite direction very briefly, and that puts a small jolt of momentum behind them. I follow that up with more torque on the tethers, and it gets the poi spinning back out at full length and at a normal speed. This method is wonderful for a lot of reasons, but the timing of it is a little tricky to learn. You're going to have to work through it and find the timing. Right as the poi heads complete the wrap, you'll want to snap back right away to put that momentum on the poi. If the tethers lose momentum on the way back out, don't worry, you just need to pull more on the tethers as they unwind. When you get this down super slick, you can actually just go straight back and forth, winding and unwinding the poi in clockwise and counterclockwise. That snap is the key. Okay, so we've learned the basics of spiral wraps. Now, what can we do with them? Goodness! Now that is a very long list. Some of my favorite uses for spiral wraps include plane changing. That is, once you get the snap down, you can do it from the poi not moving at all. Wrap them both up and hold them in place for a moment, change planes, and snap them back out. Super cool! Another cool use for them is what's called infinite spiral wraps. If you change your timing just slightly and trap each tether between your wrists or forearms, you'll be able to snap straight back and forth instantly for a very visually impressive trick. Or perhaps my personal favorite, one-handed spiral wraps. These utilize all of the same techniques we've discussed above, but leave one of your hands free to express whatever you want. Maybe it complements the wrap, or maybe it contrasts it. It's totally up to you. And these are just a couple of my favorite options. There are so many more for you to learn and discover for yourselves. But for now, I'm hoping that this video helped you get down a trick that is a mainstay of my own style, and hopefully something that'll be useful to you as well. Do you have any tips for learning spiral wraps that I didn't include here? Please leave a comment and help me and my viewers learn from your experience. Please make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe to help other people find this video and help my channel grow. And a huge thank you, because this video would not be possible without the kind contributions of these wonderful folks right here. These are my Flow patrons over on Patreon, and they help make this video and all the videos on my channel possible. If you'd like to help me out in my mission to bring poi spinning and flow arts to the wider world and help people learn to be creative with their bodies, you can do so by heading over to patreon.com/DrexFactorPoi and signing up. You can get early access to all of my content, a say in what topics I tackle in the future, plus some behind the scenes and extra content. So go check that out. Please and thank you. What are your favorite uses for spiral wraps? I'd love to know. Leave me a comment with some of your favorites, or link me to a video and show me something that inspires me. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching and enjoy the flow. Till next time, peace.